Humans arrive in Japan around 30,000 years ago, probably walking across land bridges during the Ice Age. They hunt, they gather, they survive. Then comes the Jōmon period, around 14,000 BCE. These people make pottery, some of the oldest in the world. Intricate, rope-patterned clay vessels. They're hunter-gatherers, living in small communities, eating a lot of fish and shellfish. Fast forward to 300 BCE. Rice farming arrives from Korea and China. The Yoi period begins. Bronze and iron tools appear. Society becomes more complex. Small kingdoms emerge. The classical period 379 for CE. By 300 CE, Japan is a patchwork of clans and tribes. The Yamato clan rises to power and claims descent from the sun goddess Amaterasu. They become the imperial family, a lineage that continues to this day. Buddhism arrives from Korea in the 6th century. It doesn't replace Shinto, Japan's native religion. Instead, they coexist. This is very Japanese: adapt, don't replace. Prince Shotoku creates a constitution in 600 for CE, borrowing heavily from Chinese philosophy. Japan is becoming more centralized, more organized. In 710 CE, Japan builds its first permanent capital at Nara. The government models itself after China's Tang dynasty. Buddhism flourishes. Massive temples are constructed. The Heian period 79 for 1185. The capital moves to Heian-keiwa, modern-day Kyoto. This ushers in the Heian period, a golden age of Japanese culture. The aristocracy writes poetry, practices calligraphy, and obsesses over aesthetics. Lady Murasaki writes the tale of Genji, often called the world's first novel. But while nobles compose poetry, real power is shifting. The Fujiwara clan dominates the imperial court through strategic marriages. The emperor becomes more ceremonial than practical. On the edges of civilization, a new warrior class is emerging: the samurai. They're hired to protect aristocratic estates. Soon, they'll take over everything. The Age of Warriors 1185-1603. In 1185, a samurai clan, the Minamoto, defeats their rivals in a naval battle. Their leader, Minamoto no Yoritomo, becomes shogun, military dictator of Japan. The emperor remains, but he's a figurehead. Real power belongs to the warriors.
This is the beginning of feudal Japan. Shoguns rule. Samurai serve as their warriors. A strict code of honor called Bushido develops. The Kamakura shogunate faces its greatest test in 1274 and 1281 when Mongol fleets attempt to invade Japan. Both times, typhoons destroy the Mongol ships. The Japanese call these storms kamikaze, divine wind. Civil war erupts in the 14th century. The shogunate collapses. Japan fragments into warring states controlled by regional lords called daimyo. This is the Sengoku period, the age of warring states. It's chaos. Then, in 1543, Portuguese traders arrive with something revolutionary: guns. Firearms transform warfare in Japan almost overnight. 3 warlords emerge to reunify Japan. Oda Nobunaga starts the process, crushing his enemies with ruthless efficiency. Toyotomi Hideyoshi continues the work, unifying most of Japan. Tokugawa Ieyasu finished the job. The Tokugawa shogunate 1603-1868. In 1603, Tokugawa Ieyasu becomes shogun. The Tokugawa shogunate will rule Japan for the next 265 years. Tokugawa establishes his capital in Edo, which will later be renamed Tokyo. Japan is at peace. The daimyo are controlled through a system called Sankenkatai. They must spend alternate years in Edo, which keeps them loyal and poor. But there's a problem: foreigners. Christian missionaries have been converting Japanese. The Tokugawa see Christianity as a threat. In the 1630s, they expel almost all foreigners and ban Christianity. Japan closes itself off from the world. Only limited trade with the Dutch and Chinese is permitted through the port of Nagasaki. For over 2 centuries, Japan exists in isolation. No one can leave. No one can enter. It's peaceful, stable, and completely cut off from global developments. Meanwhile, Japanese culture flourishes. Kabuki theater, haiku poetry, ukiyo-e woodblock prints. This is when Japan develops its distinct aesthetic identity. The Meiji Restoration 1868-1912. Then, in 1853, American Commodore Matthew Perry sails into Edo Bay with 4 warships. His message is simple: open your ports to trade or else. Japan realizes it's hopelessly outgunned. The Tokugawa shogunate's weakness is exposed. In 1868, samurai from domains that opposed the shogunate overthrow the Tokugawa and restore power to the emperor, a teenager named Meiji. This is the Meiji Restoration. It's one of the most dramatic transformations in world history. Japan decides to modernize rapidly. They send scholars abroad to study Western technology, government, and military systems. They abolish the feudal system. Samurai are disbanded. Everyone is equal under the law, at least in theory. Japan realizes it's hopelessly outgunned. The Tokugawa shogunate's weakness is exposed. In 1868, samurai from domains that opposed the shogunate overthrow the Tokugawa and restore power to the emperor, a teenager named Meiji. This is the Meiji Restoration. It's one of the most dramatic transformations in world history. Japan decides to modernize rapidly. They send scholars abroad to study Western technology, government, and military systems. They abolish the feudal system. Samurai are disbanded. Everyone is equal under the law, at least in theory. Japan builds railroads, telegraph lines, factories. They create a modern conscript army and navy. They write a constitution. They industrialize in decades what took Europe centuries. And then Japan looks outward. In 1894-95, they defeat China in war. In 1904-05, they shock the world by defeating Russia, European power. Japan has arrived. They're not a victim of imperialism, they're playing the imperial game. Japan annexes Korea in 1910. They've joined the club of great powers, empire, and war 191-1945. Emperor Meiji dies in 1912. His successors continue Japan's expansion. During World War I, Japan fights on the Allied side and seizes German territories in Asia. The 1920s bring brief democracy and cultural flourishing. Jazz, cafes, women with bob hair. Tokyo is cosmopolitan, but beneath the surface, tensions simmer. Military officers believe Japan is becoming too Western, too soft. The global depression hit Japan hard. In 1931, the Japanese military invades Manchuria in China. Civilian government is powerless to stop them. Military officers effectively take control of Japan's government. In 1937, full-scale war with China begins. Japanese forces commit horrific atrocities, including the Nanjing Massacre. Japan allies with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. They see themselves as liberating Asia from Western colonialism, but their occupation is brutal. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor, bringing America into World War II. Japan conquers much of Southeast Asia and the Pacific, but they've awakened a giant. America's industrial might overwhelms Japan. City after city is firebombed. In August 1945, atomic bombs destroy Hiroshima and Nagasaki. On August 15th, Emperor Hirohito announces Japan's surrender. It's the first time most Japanese have heard his voice. Post-war miracle 1945-1989. Japan is devastated. Cities are rubble. Millions are dead. American forces occupy the country. Under American supervision, Japan drafts a new constitution. It renounces war. The emperor becomes purely symbolic. Democracy is established. Women gain the right to vote. But Japan isn't crushed, it's rebuilt. The Korean War in 1950 creates demand for Japanese manufacturing. Japan's economy begins to grow. Through the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, Japan experiences an economic miracle. They become the world's factory: electronics, cars, cameras. Sony, Toyota, Honda, these become global brands. By the 1980s, Japan is the world's second largest economy. People predict Japan will surpass America. Tokyo real estate becomes the most expensive on Earth. The lost decades and modern era 1989 to present. Then the bubble bursts. In 1989, Japan's asset price bubble collapses. Real estate and stock prices plummet. The economy stagnates. The 1990s become the lost decade. Then another lost decade. Japan never quite recovers its momentum. Growth remains anemic. Deflation sets in. But Japan remains one of the world's most advanced nations. Life expectancy is among the highest globally. Technology is cutting edge. Culture, anime, manga, video games is exported worldwide. Japan faces challenges: an aging population, low birth rates, natural disasters like the 2011 earthquake and tsunami that triggered the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Yet Japan endures. It adapts. It persists. Closing. From hunter-gatherers to samurai. From isolation to empire. From devastation to prosperity. A nation of islands that borrowed from China, closed itself off from the world, was forced to open, industrialized at breakneck speed, built an empire, lost everything, and rose again. This is Japan. Constantly changing. Always Japanese.